In this video, we're going to be looking at the Arc'teryx Atom and its big brother, the Heavyweight, and we're going to be looking at when you would want to wear one versus the other. We're also going to be looking at my favorite way of camping now that it is autumn. This is the shelter here. We're going to get into it in a little bit later, though. Both of these jackets are synthetic insulation. They both use Core-Loft, but they both use different weights of Core-Loft. The regular lightweight, or I think it's just called the Atom now, is Core-Loft 60. This means that it's 60 grams per square meter of Core-Loft. The Heavyweight, on the other hand, uses a combination of 60, 80, and 120 grams per square meter of Core-Loft, and this is mapped accordingly so that you're most warm in the areas you need it, but in other areas like under the arms it's a little bit lower, so you don't really feel like a Michelin man. Although both these jackets are called the Atom, I would say that they're quite different in nature. This lightweight jacket I would be using for mostly active use, so I'd be wearing it while hiking in snowy wintry conditions, while this heavyweight I would be using for static use, so I'd be putting it on when I'm at camp. This is because this is just so warm you're going to overheat while wearing it, but this jacket has fleece down the side so that it's really breathable, so that it prevents the overheating when you're active. So looking at insulation, this one is pretty simple. The lightweight just uses Core-Loft 60. It is everywhere except for under the arms, which is all a grid fleece material. The heavyweight, on the other hand, is going to be completely different. So let's put it on and I'll show you what it's about. Already, I am so toasty. This thing is incredibly warm. The hood is just so cozy and snug. I don't really even need a beanie that much when I'm wearing this, just because this provides so much warmth. So around the hood, I think it is Core-Loft 80, but all down the front and all down the back, we've got the big, heavy Core-Loft 120. This is going to provide most of the warmth. I think it's up around the shoulders as well, and this is where you're going to need that warmth the most. Down on the arms here, we've got Core-Loft 80, so, you know, it's still quite warm. It's warmer than the Atom, but it's not so bulky that you're going to be, like, overheating here, because you need most of that warmth around the core. What I like a lot about this jacket is under the arms and down here, this is Core-Loft 60. So it allows you to be kind of snug, you don't feel like you're big balloony or anything like that, and it just feels like this is mapped accordingly so that I'm still very warm, but I don't feel like I'm wearing a really big puffy jacket that kind of makes me marshmallowy and stuff like that. Now, both jackets being a part of the Arc'teryx lineup, they have a zipper with a stopper system, so it'll automatically stop at various intervals throughout the zipping process. I think the last one's around here, and this allows you to zip it down a bit, but it's not going to come fully undone when you're hiking, so I think that's a pretty neat little feature. Now, this hood is quite compatible. You've got a nice big cinch at the back to really pull it in, and then if we open up the jacket, we've got two little pulls here, and that's going to pull the face guard up or down. This is going to be really useful if you have a helmet on, or if you just need to cinch it nice and tight and be nice and cozy inside. The regular Atom doesn't that. It's just got the cinch at the back. It's got no pull tabs up the front. Both of these jackets have one internal pocket. This is on the left side, and it'll be good to hold battery packs or a phone or something you want to keep nice and warm. It's just one. There's no drop pockets in here. It's just one little pocket. Both of these jackets have a really nice cinch at the bottom, so you can really tuck it in either on the waist. If you get a bit larger, you can pull it down over your bum, which is quite nice when you're feeling a little bit cold at camp. The cinch works really well. I've had no problems with this. Now, Arc'teryx know that you want to layer your jackets accordingly. So I've got a base layer under here, and this fits nice and snugly over the top. But when it rains, this isn't waterproof, so you're going to want to have a shell over the top. Now, if you have a look at the sleeves here, it comes in nice and snugly, and it does kind of map the body quite well. What this is going to allow is you're going to have a rain jacket over the top, just like this, and it's not going to feel like you're restricted anywhere. So let's put it on and we'll have a look. Okay, so now that we've got this rain jacket on, I'm finding that this is very comfortable. I'm not getting any restrictions or bunched up fabric around the arms or shoulders. It's fitting quite flush around my torso, and we can see with those arms that everything's fitting quite well, as you would expect. I can move my arms up and down. I can do everything that I need without fabric getting punched up or anything like that. Now, the Atom is designed mostly as a active use piece, so I really like wearing this in alpine conditions where it's really cold and windy, because when I'm wearing this shell, if I'm overheating, I can open these pit zips up, and the fabric here is that mesh or the grid fleece material that I was talking about earlier. So this is going to allow you to dump heat really well, and it's also going to allow air to come in and really cool you off to stop being so overheating and sweating. So that's why I like this Atom so well for active use. You can really push it in a variety of different use case scenarios, and it's going to perform quite well. I really like both of these Atoms. They're completely different despite having a very similar and a little bit of a confusing naming scheme. But honestly, I feel like they have quite a lot of use cases that warrant bringing both of them on a trip. When I did the Kosciuszko main range trip last year, I was wearing this the whole time, and then once I got into camp, I took it off and I put this one on. It's just such a warm piece of equipment that, honestly, it warrants the price, I feel, and it warrants the weight penalty of being synthetic. Snow in Australia is a bit different to snow in other parts of the world, in my opinion. In Canada and up north where it gets really, really cold, it's so dry that the biggest thing you're battling is the conditions of the snow, but also just the really cold temperatures. But in Australia, when it gets cold, it doesn't really get down past, say, minus 10 degrees, excluding wind chill. And what this means is that, yes, we have a lot of snow, but often that snow is really wet. And when you're mixing that cold, wet moisture with snow, with wind, the conditions in the Australian Alps can get very dangerous. Why I like the Arc'teryx pieces, and it's not exclusive to Arc'teryx, but why I like the Atom so much is that synthetic material. It's going to provide you with a lot more warmth, even if it does get damp and wet, which it will just because of the moisture content in the air. Down pieces like sleeping bags and puffy jackets, they will have a better warmth to weight ratio, but once that dampness and condensation does get into the down, it's going to compromise it and it's not going to be anywhere near as warm. So when I'm heading into Kosciuszko or the Australian Alps, I will be picking a lot more synthetic, like Corloft or Primaloft materials, just because I know that even if it gets wet, even when moisture does get into it, I'm going to be staying a lot more warm despite the weight penalty. It's no secret that Arc'teryx is one of the most premium brands in the outdoor industry. Their CEO is even saying that they're trying to be the Hermes of the outdoor space. What this means is that these jackets, while functionally really well designed, they are quite a lot more expensive than other brands. What I would recommend you do is, in the past few years, Arc'teryx have been putting on a lot more sales, like 20% off sales and clearance items here and there, but they have been bumping up their prices slowly. So if you are looking to buy an Arc'teryx piece, please don't buy their full retail price. I feel like that's a bit of a scam. Look for secondhand, look for your deals and your sales, because they do come around quite often. Every end of season sale is when I look to pick up pieces, and if you're lucky enough to live in a city like Melbourne, they have some outlet shops as well where you can buy some really good pieces for significantly lower than 20%. If you're looking to get something that is functionally the same as the regular Atom, but don't care about the brand, then Tom over here has found the Kathmandu equivalent of the Arc'teryx Atom. This is called the Seeker, and it's functionally the same. It uses Primaloft material, so it's the exact same warmth as the Atom, and it is also a fleece material on the inside, so it's essentially exactly the same as the regular Atom. I probably would have considered this, but it wasn't out 5 years ago when I bought my Atom, but they are functionally the exact same pieces. This one just costs about, a third of the price of the regular Atom. So I would actually recommend both these pieces. If you can find them for a good deal, I would definitely consider picking them up. I feel so toasty in them all the time, and I feel like they do exactly what they have been advertised to do, and that's a real assurance when you're out in your really cold conditions and you are relying on your gear to keep you safe and to keep you comfortable in the backcountry. Anyway, let's have a look at this shelter behind me. This is what I slept in last night, and it's my favorite sort of camping to do now that there's no bugs and I can get rid of the bug mesh inner. Regular viewers of my channel have seen this tent before. This is the Locust Gear Happy, but every time you've seen it, I've had a different sort of inner in it. I've had the half inner and the full inner, and every time I've had the trekking pole straight down the middle. And you know, it works. It's great for when there's heaps of bugs and it's in the middle of summer, or you're trying to stay dry and keep things separate. But it's not my favorite sort of camping. It always feels like I'm a little bit removed from the backcountry, and I go out here to try and be immersed in nature and have the sun shining directly into my eyes. So the inner has been removed and there is no trekking pole in the middle. I have got a A-frame adapter here, and I've got my trekking poles coming down each of the side so I can sit right in the middle. And because there's no inner, I have all the space right until the end of the shelter. So this provides me with so much space. I can see all the dirt and stuff around, which is pretty sick if you consider that. And then a nice little bathtub floor so that if rain and you know, puddles do appear, I'm still going to be nice and safe. But it just feels so much more cozy in here compared to being like locked away in a double wall tent. I feel like this is just so much cooler. You know, when it rains like it did last night, I can see the water beating straight off the walls of the tent, and it's just such a cool feeling. If you are seeing this and you're thinking that you want to do it yourself, it's actually a lot simpler than you would think. Or maybe it is exactly as simple as you would think. You just got to leave your inner at home and bring a ground sheet. Just pick a nice little season like fall where there's no bugs, and you're going to be pretty good. And finally, the weight savings of leaving your inner at home cannot be understated. You're saving so much weight, which means you can bring other wicked luxuries like all these cool lights that created a really nice ambience last night when Tom and I were watching the footy. If you have not tried this, I really urge you to give it a go. It is my favourite type of camping, and I really hope that you can find the joy in this as well. Last night I slept so well. I've got the foam pad underneath, then I've got the X-Therm, and then I used the Neve Gear Feathertail. If you're looking at this quilt and thinking that it looks so cool, check out my previous video where I go into a deep dive of the Neve Gear, as well as the backpack, the Whipper AP50. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy my pizza from last night as breakfast, and then I'm going to hike on out of here. I'll see you in the next one. Bro, we're so smart.